Hey folks, this is Helios. As promised, this is my second installment of my hopefully weekly review series, Burd Reviews. I'm kind of hesitant to call this one a review because this is a movie that I'm assuming a lot of people have seen. In case you weren't paying attention to the title, the movie is Jurassic Park. I am, of course, referring to the 3D re-release that came out this month to celebrate the film's 20th anniversary, and as well to probably build hype for Jurassic Park 4, which is coming out next year. So I still want to see this movie for a variety of reasons. One of them being that I have never actually seen Jurassic Park in the theater. The movie came out in 1993. I was like 2 years old at the time, so I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. And I saw The Lost World in the theater, saw Jurassic Park 3 in the theater, and I was also pretty young there, so I don't remember too much about those movies, although in the case of Jurassic Park 3, it might be a good thing. But I never saw the original in the theater, so it was kind of a nice little treat for me to check it out on my list. Another thing in relation to that is that I have, this is really weird, but I have never actually watched Jurassic Park all the way through from beginning to end. I don't know why that is, but I never saw the whole movie from start to finish. Now, I've seen like all the iconic scenes and stuff. You know, I've seen the reveal of the dinosaurs, the entrance of the T-Rex, every line by Jeff Goldblum. I mean, I've seen all that. I know enough to know what's going on, but I never saw the whole thing, just bang, bang, start to finish. So, but because I already knew what was going to happen, more or less, it really was nice because I can go in and look at the movie and just kind of appreciate it as a movie, as opposed to getting bogged down trying to remember who the characters are and what's going on and stuff. So with that in mind, I'm not going to spend too much time on the plot, but, you know, on the off chance that maybe you haven't seen the movie, here's a quick summary. The film follows paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant and his colleague, Dr. Ellie Sattler, who are contacted by a wealthy businessman named John Hammond, who has rented out a private island off the coast of Costa Rica. Joining them is fellow paleontologist Ian Malcolm, also an expert in chaos theory, and Hammond introduces them to his new theme park called Jurassic Park, where thanks to his crack genetic engineering team, they have managed to bring dinosaurs to life, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, keeping a bunch of dinosaurs on a remote tropical island goes about as well as you would expect, and soon enough it's a race against time to get off the island before they're all killed. That basically right there is the plot. Now, of course, you have all the subplots in there. I mean, you have Wayne Knight's character. This is pretty silly, but my family's a big Seinfeld fan. So every time Wayne Knight showed up on the screen, we all said, "Hello, Newman." So you have his character trying to steal some of the embryos for some rival company or whatever, and then you have Dr. Grant and his phobia of kids, who are represented by the grandkids of Mr. Hammond, but no, that's all of us. The main plot is dinosaurs on the loose. We gotta get out. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So let's go into some of the things here. Mainly, first of all, the special effects. One of the reasons I am glad that this got re-released, because I think that a lot of kids that were born in this decade, they don't really appreciate just how groundbreaking these special effects were in 1993. This movie was to the 1990s what Avatar was to the 2000s. I think it came out in 2000. I'm not sure if it came out that, but I digress. When this movie came out, this was the best that CGI had to offer, and it just blew people away. And the amazing thing is, the effects still hold up. I mean, seriously, they don't really look that dated. They actually look pretty decent 20 years later. I mean, they were so good that I thought that they had actually gone back and re-rendered them. Now, to my knowledge, they didn't do that, so it just shows you just how much effort that was put into this film to make these dinosaurs as realistic and believable as possible. And I believe that this is still today the in terms of cinematic films that were released, for Hollywood, I believe it's the most realistic dinosaur film out there. I believe it actually took the title from The Land Before Time, which I'm another big fan of. Actually, considered funny thing is that both Land Before Time and Jurassic Park had Steven Spielberg involved in some way. I consider Jurassic Park kind of be like a more realistic version of Land Before Time. It's like, that movie's like, the cartoon's great, but it's like, Jurassic Park's like, okay, here's what's really going on and stuff like that. And let's throw some humans into the mix. So yeah, special effects still hold up. The dinosaurs, the ones that are featured pretty good as well. Now, they don't feature a terribly diverse amount of dinosaurs in this one, obviously probably due to the budget it had at the time, but the ones that feature pretty good. And of course, everyone knows the T-Rex. I mean, the introduction of the T-Rex is one of the more iconic moments in cinema. The slow thumping from the footsteps gets closer, then just roaring into the camera. By the way, it still looks really terrifying, even in 3D. It looks pretty goddamn terrifying. But then we have the Velociraptors. Not too many people seem to remember the Velociraptors in this movie, which is a shame because, in my opinion, they are way more terrifying than the T-Rex. Because in the T-Rex, you know that you're screwed when you see it. I mean, it's this big, hulking mountain of doom that is coming to really spoil your day. I mean, when you hear those footsteps, you know that you're in trouble. Velociraptors, though, are more subtle, more intelligent. I mean, first of all, in the opening scene, Dr. Grant gives this lecture to a 10-year-old kid about how you don't fuck with a Velociraptor, and that should be pretty obvious. A lot of people know dinosaurs. I mean, I know Velociraptor myself, and she is on a lot of people's don't fuck with list, though for different reasons. Anyway, the raptors in the series are portrayed as being more intelligent than the other dinosaurs. These guys, I mean, they explain in the movie, these guys are able to, they're not, as smart as you and me, of course, but they're still able to think and plan and strategically hunt their targets. And I think one of my favorite scenes was toward the end when they're holed up in a panic room and there's two velociraptors roaming around in the control center. And Sattler says, "Oh, don't worry, I took care of one of them," and let you know they figure out how to open doors. And immediately we jump cut to one of them opening a door. I'm like, oh man, that is terrifying. And when it happens later, when Grant sees them opening a door, he's like, oh, hell no! And imagine Samuel L. Jackson in the movie too, and has a close encounter with some of these velociraptors that doesn't end too well. Okay, so yeah, dinosaurs, of course, are terrifying. In fact, one of the things I noticed, I kind of picked this up when I was a kid, but I noticed it a hell of a lot more now that I'm an adult. The movie blends the scenes with its dinosaurs pretty well. Like, half of them are just amazing, other half absolutely terrifying. It's like, I'll give you an example here. The revealed dinosaurs, with the John Williams theme of the Brachiosaurus, eating from the trees, and the Saurolophuses drinking from the lake and stuff like that, with that music in the background. That's amazing. I mean, I was almost in tears when I saw it. I mean, it's just still a really beautiful, iconic scene. T-Rex introduction, every scene with the Velociraptors, terrifying. My poor sister, she's over 2 seats in front of me. Her face is all pale. She can barely keep her eyes open. I'm like, oh my god, I feel so bad for her. But yeah, it seems to really blend well. The scenes with the dinosaurs makes them alternatively amazing and terrifying, and both at the same time even. And that brings me to the thing that I really picked up watching this again that I didn't see before. Because you watch the movie and you get so you often get really bogged down in the predicament of the main characters, Grant and Malcolm and so on, and the kids, and and this is why again it helped that I knew what was going to happen. It's like they're going to be okay. I mean, we still got 2 movies to go here, soon to be 3 movies, so everything's going to turn out more or less okay for at least some of these people. And it was because of this, you really get caught up in the dilemma of Hammond. Hammond is a guy who really thinks he's doing the world this great service. He's doing this wonderful thing for the world, and he is. He is bringing an extinct species back to life. This has been something that's been the wet dream of anybody who loves animals, since forever. But at the same time, it becomes clear he doesn't really understand the full implications of what he's doing here. The movie makes it clear that while bringing dinosaurs back is an awesome and amazing thing, it's also very dangerous. I mean, a couple times in the movie where Malcolm and Sadler, I keep forgetting her name, I don't know why I keep doing it, but they point out to him explicitly that what he's doing is inherently reckless. I mean, there's one scene after Grant and the two kids survive the T-Rex attack. You see Statler having breakfast with Hammond, and Hammond's going on about, next time we'll get it right. We'll have all these automated systems, and we'll fix everything, and everything will be perfect, and we'll get it right next time. And Statler just looks at him like, are you fucking crazy? I mean, my kind of sort of boyfriend, your grandkids, are being hunted out there by a freaking T-Rex. Well, what part of this don't you get? And you really get the sense that Hammond cares for, his creatures. Now, he says early in the film that he wants to be around for every new one that is born. And he absolutely refuses the contingency plan, which slowly would kill off dinosaurs. And when he, at the end of the movie, when Grant starts shooting at the Velociraptors, he screams at him, just like, Grant, what are you doing, Grant? And you can tell he's just so tortured by this, but the fact that, these are essentially his kids, his creations, and he's being forced to kill them. And, just that last scene where he's just looking at the mosquito and the amber, and he's thinking, how did this all go wrong? And, well, it's actually pretty obvious. Dude, you get a newspaper with living dinosaurs. How well do you expect this to go? It's not to feel sympathetic for him because he's very stubborn, and he refuses to say, okay, you know what, we're going too far, and he gets a lot of people put in jeopardy as a result of this, some of them even killed. So you can't really feel sympathy for him, but at the same time, you understand what he's trying to do, and you do kind of want to see him come out on top. It's a great process having living dinosaurs. You want to see it somehow all work out, but in the end, it just can't. The dinosaurs and mankind are two species that are separate for 65 million years. All of a sudden, you just throw them together like that. What do you think's going to happen? And the two movies, make it very clear that as much as we want these species, our species, us and dinosaurs, just aren't meant to exist together, probably. Hell, in The Lost World, they're trying to bring a T-Rex to San Francisco, and that goes about as well as you would expect. And I could say this probably agreed Aesop, but this is an extinct species. I guess, I may be reading too much into this, but if I had to find an Aesop from this movie, it would be that, in the end, man, we as a species, we have to know when are we going too far. Like, when does, pushing the boundaries of science become playing God? We have all these goals in mind, things like immortality, faster than light travel, time travel, all this good stuff. But with all these ambitious goals, there's always going to be unintended consequences, and we have to decide, for things. And the thing is, Jurassic Park could soon be a reality. Believe it or not, science actually got to the point where maybe within a decade, we could actually have the ability to bring extinct species back from the dead. Maybe even dinosaurs. So maybe for the 30th anniversary, there'll be a real Jurassic Park. And if we ever get that far, and we eventually will, we're going to have to decide, is it really worth it? Does the risk outweigh the reward here? Okay, so who's going to like this movie? Well, again, I kind of feel a little weird answering this because I think a lot of people have seen it already, but, just in case that someone's watching this who hasn't seen it. If you're a fan of dinosaurs, obvious choice there. If you like action, adventure, science fiction, and Jeff Goldblum, because every line Jeff Goldblum has in the movie is just hilarious. If you like those things, then yeah, this movie is for you as well. I would recommend checking it out because, you know, again, if you didn't see it in the theaters like me, it's a good chance to do it now. And if you're tuned to remember it or tuned to have experienced it, it's a really good chance to really see, you know, the kind of movies that took the world's breath away back 20 years ago and would pave the way for all the cinematic blockbusters we have today. And again, Jurassic Park 4 coming out next year. What better way to get started with 3D re-release? Alright, so that's it. I will see you guys next week. Take care.